This is Beverly D'Angelo sending love out for anybody who loves the Regular Joe's podcast.
To movies and toys and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
As we record this... No, I was going to say we are a month and a day from the Rise of Skywalker. But I'm seeing it on the 19th.
So am I. Yes, the 19th.
Todd?
I'm seeing... What is the 19th? Is that Friday?
The Thursday.
Oh, yeah, we're all seeing it on Thursday.
We're a month away. It's hard to believe. It seems like it's...
Yeah, my son asked me at dinner tonight. He goes, "Dad, you know what we'll be doing a month from now?" And I honestly, I blanked, and he goes, "We'll be seeing Star Wars." I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. It's awesome."
Interesting thing is that the Mandelorian, the new episodes come out on Friday, except that week, and the new episode comes out on Thursday.
Is it Thursday or Wednesday? No, it's probably Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday? I think it's Thursday.
Wait. Well, they know that's the first day. I sent you guys that thing.
Yeah, you sent us
it was
the
the
schedule.
15th. Where did I send it? It's in the. Are you looking it up, Barry?
Yeah, I'm looking. It's in our text string somewhere.
Yeah, I thought it was a couple days away. You
Oh,
know how many?
I thought they moved it back one day, but
We have like 4 different streams going.
Chapter 7 is Wednesday, December 18th.
okay.
Wednesday. Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, right, because I keep thinking Friday is the... Yes, okay. Yep, I got it. I keep thinking the 19th is Friday. It's actually... Yes.
Could you imagine
Yes,
if they
yes.
did that on purpose because there's something in that episode that ties into the movie?
That's what I'm saying. So,
Interesting. We'll get into that more, but yeah, we'll talk about The Mandalorian episode 2. We won't do this every week, or we might. It's our show.
It's only 8 weeks, so we've done it with
that's
other
right.
shows.
Mando
in
Minute.
It's only 8 weeks in less than an hour.
Yeah.
But episode 8 is a minute and a half. We'll get into that too. So let's go random, right? Or hey, follow us on like Twitter and certainly Instagram. We appreciate that. Those are all good stuff. Let's go random. I have something hot off the presses.
I do too, so you should do it
Yeah,
first.
I think we all have the same one, so you might as well take it,
Really?
Dave.
Go.
Okay, good. So this guy, Noah Hawley,
Yes!
is
Sorry. Couldn't just
This
try to
guy
contain
who
myself. Go.
you don't know
Continue.
about, but Todd and I are very familiar with.
We are
'cause
very
it's-
excited.
it's
anything,
the
if
Legion.
it's anything like Legion. Anyway, so he's supposedly going to direct the next Star Trek movie.
Write and direct.
Write and direct and produce, apparently. So he's done Fargo and Legion, which is frightening for Star Trek. But, you know, there was another movie. A woman was going to direct one. Someone before that was going to do the time travel with
Hemsworth,
Thor and Captain Kirk meeting each other, and those sort of fell apart. So we'll see. Hopefully they do get to one. I feel like there's a lot going on in the Star Trek universe. Do they need that?
They're also saying that the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie is still in development. Side by side with this one.
Ugh. Okay. Can we learn from DC and not, or I guess there's a $1 billion Joker movie. Why should we?
Yeah, I was going to say
attention.
DC's learning things all the time. Apparently, I think this is great. I think they need something a little different. They need to shake the formula up a little bit. He's done some really kind of cool, unconventional things, and I love both of those shows. Neither based on a comic. Yeah.
So, hey, Star Trek is good. I think we're probably sort of on the edge of that cast coming together one last time.
This is what I think is kind of cool, because they're in Star Trek the Motion Picture era almost at this point. So, right? They are actually, right? Because it's 70. They actually are.
No,
so if we go 2008 to 2020.
Oh, in our time, but
in our time, it's the same time span as 66 to 70. 9? Yeah, 79.
That is 69 to. Isn't it crazy?
That's nuts.
That is nuts. That it's been 10 years since that Star Trek, and we saw the motion picture 10. Those two time frames seem completely different.
It does. Yeah. So, anyways, this we could be looking at, like I said, the recommissioned, the refitted Enterprise and odd pajama uniforms and God, I hope this is not a remake of that film.
Can you imagine that?
There's no way.
Remade Wrath of Khan.
There's no way. Although I will say I've seen some articles recently because that anniversary of that film's just passed, and Star Trek on their Instagram was posting, write all your great memories of seeing Star Trek the Motion Picture, and I was expecting it to be nothing but negative comments, and people were talking about how much they love that film, and I just don't get it, but they were.
Yeah. Isn't it December?
A lot of drug use in the 70s.
December.
So, hallucinogens.
I don't know. I just saw it maybe a week ago
No, the
on
Star
Instagram.
Trek Generations was the 25th anniversary.
No, that was more recently, yeah, but it was maybe a few weeks ago I saw it.
I got to say, I think the anniversary for Wrath of Khan would be worth acknowledging. And it did revive the franchise. It did get everything going again. So there's definitely good things that came out of it, but there's no really positive critical assessment of that film. It's one of those things where everybody involved wants to blame somebody else. So
instead of Voyager, they're going to have Pathfinder. So it'll be a Pathfinder that got swallowed up and comes back. Anyway, what do you guys got? Barry, what do you got?
So going back to the well on this whole Martin Scorsese thing, I just thought it would be interesting to sort of put a postscript on it because Joe and Anthony Russo did finally comment on it, and I think that their comments were really, really on point. So they said that Scorsese has noted that he had tried to watch a few Marvel films but quickly abandoned them. Russo's noted it's challenging to have dialogue about cinema if the acclaimed director hasn't even seen the films he's talking about. Then they said, at the end of the day, what do we know? Joe says jokingly, we are just two guys from Cleveland, Ohio. A cinema is a New York word. In Cleveland, we call them movies. So
nice. Good. Nicely said.
And then I think Anthony added, the other way to think about it, too, is nobody owns cinema. We don't own cinema. You don't own cinema. And Scorsese doesn't own cinema. So,
nope, he doesn't.
Well said.
Well said is right.
So, you know what this whole thing did? It got people talking about Martin Scorsese, which is really something that hasn't happened for a long time. Good for him, because it won't happen much more.
Maybe he just wanted that. So I refuse to see that Irishman.
And
won't see it.
Yeah,
you're on the list.
Yeah.
Banned.
So
You're saving yourself from a 3.5-hour movie?
Yeah. I've given up. I've walked out of restaurants without second thought. I've thrown chairs down. I'm not gonna. I don't need to take crap from him.
Okay. Yesterday, a new trailer for The Expanse Season 4 came out. It looks really, really cool. And they have announced that there's a Season 5. So they had hinted about that previously, but I think that's great. And that show has always kind of been on life support since minute one. To know that we've got 2 more seasons of this coming is fantastic. And I'm really psyched.
Thank you.
I don't quite get the connection, but apparently they paid Kevin Smith to watch the first episode and then talk about it on social media. Like,
for what?
Who knows? Just because they were trying to get buzz going. So he just seems like an odd. I mean, you guys know I love Kevin Smith, but he seems like an odd spokesperson for The Expanse.
I think they're looking to expand the audience. I think they are, and no pun intended there. There's also going to be an after show for Crisis with Kevin Smith, which is
Oh, really? That makes more sense.
That makes more sense.
it does. Which is why I wonder whether they're thinking, jump onto this Kevin Smith buzz if it goes anywhere. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And those will be actually contemporary too. So
where is that running?
Expanse
Online?
It's on Amazon.
No. The after show for
It's probably got to be online, I would think.
I think it is. I'm not sure on that, but yeah. So once that gets heavily going
at on Channel 11.
Yeah, I gotta get caught up. I think Arrow and Batwoman are the only things I'm current on. I gotta watch Flash. So
I'm hoping you don't have to watch Black Lightning because I'm not.
okay.
It's crossing over from 5 shows, so
Yeah.
I guess that's Batwoman, Flash, Arrow, Supergirl.
Oh,
Black
Supergirl,
Lightning.
I'm 2 back on. Legends and Black Lightning. Yep.
No, but Legends isn't on. It won't be on.
Yeah, but they're still bringing the cast.
No, but I'm saying it sounded like it was 5.
And I think
across
Legends
5
goes
shows.
forward after Arrow stops. So, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think they're...
It's
yeah,
too
that's-
much. See, it's too much. It's too much of a commitment for me. I don't want to watch all that crap. Even for a cool crossover, it's too much.
Okay. I have no problem with it. I really don't.
I don't think you're going to need to watch everything with the crossover, but there's some of the stuff is tedious.
I got to say, some of the stuff, this is actually like a comic book crossover in that a lot of the issues that have the banner across the top, it's really kind of teased in there. It's not integral to the story. I think if you watch the actual crossover episodes, it's going to be tied up in a neat bow. That
Oh yeah, like the death of Superman and whatever Batman breaking his back.
Yeah.
You had to buy like 50 comics to get almost nothing out of them.
And in this way, like I said, I think the episode before and then I think Arrow is definitely worth watching if you've been
If
you've been on
watch
that train,
you should watch it.
Because I think that's the one that is the kind of straight line feed into this. So,
yeah. Cool. Did anyone have anything else? I don't even know where we are.
Yeah, I got one more thing. Just today, Rolling Stone magazine released a pretty lengthy interview with Kathleen Kennedy. I won't bore you with 99% of it.
Please don't.
There's
When
one
is she
quote here
retiring?
that I just want to read to you.
Does it? She name me specifically?
She says, "Dave Pisani, you better stop talking about me." Where the hell is? Oh God, I'm sorry. I had it saved here, and here we go. Okay, so the question was about Rian Johnson making controversial choices in The Last Jedi, and asking if she, Anyway, her reaction to that comment was, I mean, I love what Ryan did. It's an absolutely wonderful film. That's all I'm going to say. There's a photo of her sitting in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and I saw it, and I had the same reaction that Adam Sandler's character in The Wedding Singer had when he saw his ex-fiancée wearing the Van Halen t-shirt, and he said, you better take that shirt off because you're going to jinx him and the band's going to break up. Get the hell out of the Millennium Falcon. Don't be in there.
Well, she doesn't even have an office at Disney anymore, okay? Again, it's this facade. She's going in there. She smiles
She's
to people.
sleeping in
And
the
then they make her
Falcon at
sit in
night
the
because she's got nowhere
corner.
to work.
They make her sit in the corner till 5 o'clock, and then she can go home. It's all because they don't want to publicly fire her before this movie. So,
did you either of you guys see they released a new 30-second trailer for Last Jedi today?
I was going to mention that.
I'm not gonna watch
and
it.
pictures. I think I'm on lock. I'm officially on lockdown.
yeah, too much.
I'm not watching
I slowly, because I saw it on my phone, I slowly sort of panned through to just see all the imagery that was in it. It just looks awesome.
Yeah,
I won't say anything about what I saw because you're on
No,
lockdown.
I don't want to see. I hear little quotes about pictures. I'm on lockdown.
Yeah, me too.
Can't do it.
Not looking at anything. I'm trying even not to look at toys and stuff.
I will watch official commercials and trailers. I'm not going to go digging for info, but if they release it in a TV commercial, I'll watch it.
I don't want to see anything. Done. Well, okay, since you did bring up The Last Jedi, let me just take an hour to...
I was going to say, I thought we were trying to keep this upbeat, okay?
All right, so it's difficult to go through a goddamn death dedication to an upbeat song, and the upbeat song is Fanboy Collectibles.
Yes.
Awesome, by the way. Speaking of Star Wars, the first Rise of the Skywalker, Hot Toys Ray and D.O., I guess that's how we pronounce his name, D.O., the new
D.O.
littler droid, is out. She's all in white. I don't remember seeing
so this
in the
is
commercials.
No, she's been in white since the thing where she's running and jumps over the thing. It looks a little starker here because
It's
of
a little white.
because the red the sands red are here. I will say, I was looking at that figure today and I was wondering, is this like significant in some way? Is this to juxtapose her with Kylo Ren, where she's the light and he's the dark? Because
Maybe.
she wore tan and then she wore kind of brown and tan, and now it's like, but she's gone to basically her original outfit, but pure white.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, that's up for pre-order. There's a ton of Batman statues of all different kinds. Check those out if you're into that. Pops and Hot Toys and Sideshow and Kotobukiya and everything. Everything you need is there.
Cool stuff.
I did just pick up I had it on pre-order, but I picked up the Dark Knight Batman and Kerry Robin statue, which I've been looking forward to. That's pretty cool. So
I think that's the one I saw in there. Anyway, check them out, fanboycollectibles.com. If you're in the neighborhood, Newtown, Connecticut, Fanboy Collectibles store, open Monday through Friday. Tell them the regular Joe's saying you. Todd? I'm pointing at you.
So I was going to ask what you got, because earlier in the season we talked about some new shows that we were watching or we were looking forward to watching, and it struck me we never really got back to that. What have you guys picked up this season new that you've stayed with, if anything?
Several things. I've stuck with Batwoman.
Yeah.
Nope.
I have recorded Prodigal Son, but I don't know what I'm doing with it. I gotta say, right now, one of the things that's really interesting to me is that For All Mankind, I'm thoroughly enjoying. Have you watched more of it?
I'm second 2 episodes in, and I like it. So
I'm 4 episodes in, and I'm really enjoying it. And I thought it was going to be very Man in the High Castle. Like, I didn't think it was about the space program. I thought it was, here's a pivotal point in history, and then sort of Russia takes over the United States or something. But maybe we get there. But it's really in the Apollo program. It's like Apollo 13, like, every week.
And in some ways, it would have been almost better if we'd lost.
I totally agree. I was talking to someone about that.
And because, I was looking at this and I was thinking, because there's things happening. This is not Man in the High Castle, which is, it came back this week with its final season, and I'm excited for that. But this, this is what it took. It was the competitive spirit that kept the space race, that fueled the space race. And once we won and spiked the football, we walked away. And this is a very interesting perspective on it. It's I give him a lot of credit for this because this is way out there.
And there's not a lot of talk about it, but I mean, again, and I'm not looking at it with a fine-tooth comb, but 70s era, the spacesuits, certainly the Corvettes, we're seeing nice Corvette stuff.
And again,
they're really doing
on the heels
nice
of that
job.
Sean Penn thing last year that didn't work.
Well, and I watched
that one was
that whole
not
thing.
good.
So I think this is...
I highly recommend it if you're a fan of space
Yeah,
program.
that one I'm going to have to go now. For everybody that's not aware, that's an Apple TV original, right? You have to have Apple's service for that.
Yep.
The only thing I would say that I'm consistently watching every week as soon as it comes out is Watchmen.
Okay.
I started a few other things. I'm looking at my DVR right now. There's a few things I've been recording. Like I watched a few episodes of Stumptown. I still keep recording it.
I haven't all of those.
I haven't gone back to it. A few other
Nancy
things.
Drew.
But
I'm watching Nancy Drew.
Nancy Drew, you are watching. Okay.
I'm really curious where they go with that.
Okay.
I just started recording his Dark Materials. I haven't watched any of it yet. I would like to see that. But yeah,
It's
I mean,
very
Watchmen.
good.
Maybe we'll just talk
it's
about.
extremely good. It's follows the books very. It's captures the tone of the books much better than the previous movie. I'd be interested to see if you have not had exposure to the books, what your take on it is.
Yeah, no previous knowledge of any of it. So
yeah.
But let's talk about Watchmen for a minute, because I know you've been watching it
Yeah,
as well.
no,
Tom.
I'd like to
Dave,
do that.
No interest.
Let
on
me
your
just
part.
hit my
You-
list
I'm
first.
just curious. I'll ask you guys watched the first episode. I think you were very underwhelmed.
Yeah.
And where are you now?
Yeah. So let me just finish my list quick.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Watchmen.
Nancy Drew.
I've stayed up on Batwoman. I've stayed up on Stumptown. I'm kind of on the fence on that, to be honest with you. And
It's okay. It's easy.
it is easy. Again, it's she's doing a good job with it. It just seems like, yeah. So
I need to watch 10 things a week, basically.
Yes.
So
I will tell you, my favorite show this season is Evil. It scratches that like X-Files itch in a way that nothing really has since Fringe and early on Fringe, and I just like it. And if you guys get a chance, it's only going to be like 13 episodes. There's definitely some good stuff in there. It's worth watching, and very different characters than you expect. And like I said, it's the thing I look forward to most each week. Last week there was an episode. I was bummed. Watchmen. As I told you, Barry, I said I'm going to give this 3 episodes. It really took 3 episodes to dig in. And
Episodes
when
3
you
and
get
4
to
were
that
some of the
third
best.
episode, that's really when it becomes Watchmen. Okay, when
And it is. I texted this to Todd last night. I think that if you haven't read the book and you aren't familiar with the source material, and not the movie, but the source material of the book, this is probably harder to get into.
I think it
for
may
the
be
average viewer than most shows would be.
I also think right now they're working hard to get you to realize that this is not the universe of the movie. It's the universe of the book. Okay.
Well, they made that very clear in episode 5.
They sure did. And I would love to see someone who has no orientation to any of the prior stuff see what their impression of this is.
Yeah, so Todd and I were texting last night, and I was about 20 minutes ahead of him, and I was 20 minutes in. He was just starting. And I was like, yeah, I saw something in this episode I never thought I'd see on TV or in a movie. And they
Are you talking about
essentially...
the 2 superheroes in the...
Well, yeah, that. But, that, and that was weird because I don't remember those characters being gay in the book. But
no, there was an implication, but yeah.
Yeah. But, the book ends very differently than the movie ends. And they made the change to the end of the movie, and it made sense to change it. And this is not spoiling anything because this is from a book that's from over 20 years old. But basically, the Americans and Russians are, at the brink of nuclear war. And this guy, the smartest man in the world, Adrian Veidt, decides that, the way he's going to prevent millions of people dying in a nuclear war is that he's going to drop a giant squid on Manhattan, kill half the city's population, but have everybody think it's an alien, and as a result, everybody will come together and realize that we can't fight each other, that we need to fight, potential threats from beyond, and that's what's going to save the world. And it's an interesting way to end the book, and I always enjoyed that ending in the book. They actually visually depicted this in the TV show.
There's a giant squid.
Unbelievable way. They destroyed Manhattan with a giant squid.
My favorite spin on this whole thing, and my favorite spin is they're actually test marketing a commercial to try to get people to visit New York. And this is 30 years post giant squid. And
there's David Caruso. No, not David Caruso. I'm sorry. It's the guy from Sopranos.
Right,
that
yes.
played Chris on The Sopranos. Eating calamari.
Yeah, eating calamari. And it's like, wow.
I never thought I'd see that.
I never thought.
I never thought I wanted to see it, and after I saw it, I was so thrilled.
Yeah, and I got to say that I absolutely love the Lori character. I think she's perfect. This is again. I don't know whether this is going to grab a critical audience or not. I don't know whether it's going to make a foothold. There's interestingly, there's a bunch of supporting material in the HBO website so that you can fill in the backstory and stuff, which is kind of a Damon Lindelof thing, I think. And
well, it's also a Watchmen thing. I mean, there was always supplemental material in the comics.
He wants the buzz machine going on this, and they're trying hard to manufacture that. We'll see where that happens.
And this is what I meant in my text to you last night. I just don't think. Well, I know Watchmen is a hugely popular comic, and it's to this day regarded as one of the best ever. I don't know that there's enough of an audience for this TV show to work, because they're making it so unapproachable for the newbie.
Yeah, yep. I got to say, and the tangents that they go off on are really, really odd in some ways. So,
so I'm with you. It took me to the third and fourth episode, and I'll say even the fifth are some of the best TV I've seen in a long time.
So
and
Dave,
it's very Watchmen.
Dave, just to spell out the way the first episode, the third episode owned me. Okay, they do a shot for shot homage to The Dark Knight. Okay. When the Joker walks into the bank at the beginning, they do it with introducing one of the characters who comes in basically as part of a bank robbery, but the reality is she's an FBI agent staging a bank robbery to flush out a Batman-like vigilante who's called Revenger, and it's Revenger, not the Revenger, because he'll correct you on that. And they end up capturing the guy. And but it's awesome. It's just like the shot of, I mean, it's exactly the same shot of Joker going in, the cross the street diagonally, the shot of the feet. It's perfect, and that opens up, and then you get into the story. So it's kind of like a homage inside of a tribute, inside of a continuation, and they're having fun with it. So
yeah, it got good. If you're a big Watchmen fan, you'll love it, but it takes a couple episodes to get oriented, I guess.
Yeah.
So
cool. That's good. Any other shows we watching?
Nobody wants to hear that I'm watching Star Wars Resistance and that
cartoon one.
Yeah, things like that.
So wait,
are you watching?
There's another new show though, right?
Mandalorian.
Yes. So
I mean, if I were to say that there's any show that I've stuck with, I mean, I watched the second episode 3 times already.
I have not watched it 3 times, but spoilers. There's going to be spoilers. So I think we asked some questions last week after we saw Baby Yodel and
yodeling.
I think they were answered.
We're going with Yodel. It's yeah.
Yeah. I still have an issue that they're short, for sure.
This one was even shorter than the first one, but honestly didn't feel it when you watched it.
Didn't feel it, and I wish I hadn't known its running length, because we talked about it, because I'm like, is that it? Is that it? Is that? I'm like, they packed a lot in there, I think.
Yeah. And this one, the actual running time of the episode was 28 minutes, which is very short. They're calling these chapters. So what I'm really hoping for is like the funky HBO series, not HBO series, Netflix series. Anyways, that these chapters are as long as they need to be. Okay,
mm-hmm. and that's what it's got to be what they're doing, because the fact that this one was so much shorter than the first one, and neither of them seemed like full length on their own TV episodes.
Tight chapters of varying length than everything be 45 or 48 minutes, and there'd be a whole lot of crap in there.
Yeah. I'm looking at it this way. If you add the runtime of these 2 episodes together, we just saw an amazing half a movie. I mean, it's about an hour and 10 minutes.
The story isn't definitely... But you're really... A movie would have done this in 10 minutes.
Yes. No, I agree. I'm just saying, if we go pound for pound, minute for minute, this is like better hour and 10
we'll
minutes.
We'll have to put that aside because I think if that's the way it's going to be, it is what it is. But I did feel like there was a lot more. You got a lot more to this. It wasn't as much sort of building as there was. He fought the Bosk type people. He fought the freaking Jawas.
He took on the one man attack on a sandcrawler.
Let me ask this though, if just in general before we get into details, if this is going to be the pattern for like the Marvel series as well, is it is it acceptable to have short bites of something that's cinematic quality versus something that's enhanced TV quality that runs regular length?
I think I can look past the length issues if what we're being served up is amazing and great quality and entertaining.
I think we got to get used to it, but I think ultimately I might
felt
get
like
there.
I needed to know that before I went into it because you look at stuff. Titans pretty much sticks to 45 minutes.
Yes.
Like this All Mankind, those are hour-long episodes. I mean, they're long episodes, and they don't, I'm into that stuff more, so they don't drag for me. I mean, I watched one on the treadmill, and I realized I ran or walked 4.5 miles. I don't usually do that. So they definitely suck you in. I don't think there's any... I hate to see 4 hour-long episodes, but that bite-sized TV is a little... I don't know how I feel about that.
And that's what I'm saying. It may be what we end up getting. We'll have to see. Again, I'd love if the next episode was 40 minutes.
I'd like to see them mix it up like that.
So let's get back to... Now, prior to this, did you think Jawas were indigenous species? I kind of did.
No,
I think they sort of are because...
But...
They've released an action figure from the Mandelorian of a Jawa, and it's called Off-World Jawa. So I don't know what they're trying to tell us there.
So these are like vacationing Jawas? I mean...
I don't know. They also have red eyes versus yellow eyes.
They've all got Hawaiian shirts underneath?
I mean, I think I've always felt like...
I think they're indigenous to desert environments. I don't know that they're indigenous to Tatooine.
I always felt like the galaxy of Star Wars was like a planet to us, just people are just everywhere.
So you're saying really like Jawas pick a planet clean and then hop, then get on a big carrier and go somewhere else.
Believe me, there's not a hell of a lot on Tatooine or Tatooine that you could really... It's a dust ball. I mean, there's only so many droids. You drive that thing around for a couple of years and you've picked it clean, so...
Okay.
Interesting.
No, I don't have a problem with it. I liked what they did with it. I loved... ultimately getting to the scene where he's like cramped in the cockpit with them. It's like
just the fact that they did the sandcrawler right, and it wasn't just a shot of it rolling in the distance. I mean, he runs up alongside it, he climbs up it, they're throwing shit.
Oh, he's doing the full on indie truck thing with it. It's like
I mean, it was incredible for any fan of like old school Star Wars. This feels so old school Star Wars to me. I just love it.
And did you totally, I mean, whether it was, I had to be intentional, that was totally Batman climbing up the building.
Oh, 100%.
With them opening the doors.
Yep,
100%.
I expected Jerry Lewis to be in there.
Yeah.
It's old school Batman, and there's a very classic Super Star Wars video game from the Super Nintendo console where the whole second level was Luke Skywalker running up that and having Jawas throwing stuff at him. So it was a little bit of that too.
Interesting.
But I love that whole sequence, and I love that it did not, he didn't prevail at the end of that sequence. They basically stunned him, and he falls all the way down.
And that was great too, because it was like it really was like, oh, he's got the drop on him now. They think they're gonna boom down. So
yeah.
Hey, are we gonna see this dude without his helmet?
I still think at some point we will.
With mud and in your ship by yourself, maybe you take your helmet off.
That's what I was thinking. Man, I would even kind of be okay with like him taking the helmet off and them not showing his face, just seeing him from the back of the head or something. It just seems kind of odd that this guy just never takes that helmet off.
I think at some point before the 8 episodes are up, we will see him without the helmet on.
Very good.
So one other thing, I absolutely loved the fact that he's trying to barter with them to get his stuff back. he tries to uses his flamethrower on them while they're negotiating. Like, he's just not having any of it. And then they send him on the most ridiculous quest. Like, they know, like, he wants his stuff back. Okay, we're going to send him on this ridiculous quest. You think that there's some mystical thing tied to this egg. Like, there's something much larger than
they just want the egg.
Fact that it's a tasty treat for them, and they just wanted the egg. And that felt so George Lucas weird to me that I just loved it.
They're just crazy little beings, these guys.
Yeah. And I don't think they ever expected him to actually come back with it. They're like, if he dies, we keep his parts. If he doesn't, we get our snack. I loved it.
Here's the thing, before we get into Yodel, and I'm curious, is this guy, in the last week, he finds Yodel, gets him, takes him, and I asked the question, who are those people? Did he just kill 20 people who were protecting Yoda? I mean, that's not great.
I don't think so, because again, I think Nick Nolte there identified these people as all mercenaries, and they had,
Did he? Or I thought he said there's a lot of violence going on. And I watched it twice. I wish it was a little more, he's been captured and these scum and villainy are holding on to this thing. Holding on to this Yoda guy. And now he kills this poor rhinoceros really for no good reason. That's like, is that what you want your main character doing? I mean, I don't know.
I think that part of this is that he's not a good guy. He's a mercenary. He's an assassin. He's, gun for hire. And
right. And who at this point thinks he's taking care of Yodel because he thinks it's the right thing to do? I mean, I think he's assessing his options at this point. I think he's trying to figure out what the value of this is and whether, because remember, he's a bounty hunter in a diminishing market. They've already told him in the first episode that there's just not paying jobs anymore. That there's all these jobs that won't even pay for fuel. So I think he's reassessing whether he's even going to follow through on this bounty or not.
Oh, I think he did that the second he shot IG-11.
Yeah, but I think he also knows he's getting paid more if he brings it back alive than dead. So,
right,
I think he's got a vested interest in in keeping it alive until he gets his money.
Yeah. So, and obviously Yodel has the Force, although it wipes him out in a big way. And it's interesting. And
the damn thing is just so cute, and I just love that they're using like a practical puppet for him.
It is, I will say, exactly on the line of being too cute. Okay, if they went a couple degrees over, it just would not work. But they've walked that line really, really well. I give him a lot of credit for that, because I was like, oh, don't go there, don't be Ewok-y, and I think they've managed to balance it. So
I'm glad it walks too. It's not like it's just going to be stuck in that thing.
I'm thoroughly enjoying every minute of it, and I love that episode so much. Like I said, I've watched it 3 times already.
I've watched both of them 3 times, but I just keep putting it up at work.
I just love that, all the Jawa stuff and the Sandcrawler and all that. And just seeing the Sandcrawler front open, like all the things that we never really saw in A New Hope. So,
yeah. Now, so we know, let's just talk about what we know about Yodel, okay? He's 50. He ages differently than others, right? We were told that.
Yep.
Okay. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to take him another 50 years to become an adolescent.
No, and it doesn't mean that he isn't going to be able to
they
talk
could
by the
age
end of this
exponentially, so that he actually, he could be, by the time the next, the era of the next film, he could be a surly teenager force-wielding being.
That's the thing, and I wonder if they heavy-handedly threw that comment in there. I mean, it could be obvious that someone's 50 could still be a baby, or does it mean, like you say, do they age like exponentially? Because in theory, in 30 years, let's say that kid's 1.
Well, he's a toddler. Okay, I mean, he appears to be a toddler and seems to be.
walking.
I don't know.
So
I don't know anything about kids.
So a 50-year-old
Because they're horrible.
toddler. So 40 years from now, 35 years from now, he would be,
4.
4-ish,
3.
somewhere around there.
3 and a half.
It's which does not make him much more interesting as a character.
No, I know that.
No,
That's
but
what I'm
I
saying.
think
I
that-
wonder-
you're assuming
I
that he
think
ages at a
surly
consistent
teen
rate.
force-wielding Yoda.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No,
It's
but
interesting
you're
that they're
you're
gonna
assuming,
throw
Todd,
this.
that it's consistent. What if his species?
No, I'm not.
gets
That's what I'm
to
saying,
50?
Barry. I don't think it's going to be consistent. I think the next 40 years he could be at a different stage in development, and could be a young adult. He could be an adolescent.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
could
they
be-
may get to 50 and then have some kind of crazy growth spurt where he becomes an adult over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
The
You
thing
just don't
with
know.
that is, for that to happen, we're going to need to see some of that evidence.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to have to see some kind of
in this
explanation.
show.
The other thing
this
is,
guy's showing up.
we also don't know what the effect of keeping him in that little egg thing does. That could be retarding his development. Okay? The longer you keep him out of the little egg, that could be a stasis thing in effect. The longer he's roaming around, okay, the more he could be aging. So,
Well, the other interesting thing, and this is getting a little nerdy, but that doctor in the first episode, all right, even for me, Dave, it's getting.
I'm
a
not
little nerdy.
saying you. I'm saying we've done 313 episodes.
Yeah, I
of
know.
Nerdy, so
But
don't
the
worry.
you're
doctor
just now
in that
calling
first
us out for being nerdy?
The doctor in
Oh,
the first
doctor,
episode.
Yeah.
He there was a publicity shot of that character, and in this photo you can see the jumpsuit that he's wearing, and there's a patch on the arm, and that patch is the same patch that the clones on Camino had. So this guy part of the reason that he's so interested in getting this specimen back could be that he's cloning it, or he's there. That could
Or
tie
wants
back to
to.
it, or wants to, or so he's clearly got a plan for this thing, and that's why it's so important that it get back alive. I'm hoping we get to see some of that, because why on earth would they put that patch on his arm if it wasn't relevant somehow?
See, I think because we don't know what race Yoda is, I apologize if I said this last week, I think he is like a being of the Force. I think him and the others, these three that we know of, I think they're almost like hatched from the Force. I think that's why we haven't seen a planet of them running around. So I think that might, that they're all Force wielders. So,
It is interesting. I never thought this was where they were going with this show.
No, me either.
Not that I would have thought that, but I mean, and they're putting. I thought it'd be a little more hardcore. Not, they've got some cutesy elements in this, which
but they've
I didn't
also
see them
got
going.
several additional characters that we haven't even seen yet. So
a lot.
Yeah, a bunch,
So
yeah.
Gina
is he going to
Ming?
have a papoose through the rest of the series? Is this is the egg just going to keep following him like it did the Sandcrawler? It's kind of odd, but
How
yeah.
are all the? I wonder how all the Mandalorian cosplay are. They all like, what is this crap? We need to see Mandalorians and tons of Mandalorians and killing, and now we got a baby floating around in here.
I have not heard a single person, whether it be in person talking to them or on the internet, say that they didn't like it. So
This is the highest rated Star Wars derived thing on IMDb right now in terms of score.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think people are loving it. So
No, I do. I'm just curious if people were thinking it'd be in a different direction. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, well, you could pay your $6.99, your free trial, your $60 a year, your whatever. It's thoroughly worth it.
At the very least, wait 8 or 6 weeks from now till we've totally ruined the show. Do a free trial and binge it. It's definitely worth
You're
seeing.
lame if you're doing that.
yeah, there's enough other good stuff on there. I mean, look, where else are you going to see a bunch of old cartoons and movies that they're having to put disclaimers up that say that the things in these shows and movies don't necessarily reflect they're a product of their era and don't reflect modern sentiments about race and other things. So there's plenty of that
Yep.
on there right now.
We will see. Okay. All right, we're going to Workbench. What's on my workbench?
Well, if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning.
Regular Joe's. What's on my workbench?
Todd, what's on your workbench?
Okay. This is a simple thing to do. It's really easy. Any of you can do it at home if you have a Glowforge. So a couple months ago, I showed the Batman Batwing from the Batman movie, 1989 Batman movie. Eagle Moss made this several years ago. The thing is probably, I don't know, maybe 6 inches across at its widest point. It comes mounted on a base inside of the plastic case that's about 9 inches by 9 inches. It's ridiculous. I think they expect most people to leave it in the case. I wanted to put it in a bigger case with a whole bunch of other things. So I wanted a smaller stand for it. So on the Glowforge, I made a little oval stand, which you can go to our website, regularjoes.com, and you can see pictures of this because I'm holding it up right now, which is silly because you can't see it. But anyways,
we can see it.
So I made a little oval base. I etched the bat symbol into it, and I put 1989 Batwing, and I put Anton First, lest anyone think that Tim Burton is responsible for this design. He is not. Like the Batmobile, Anton First designed it, and it was the art director for that film. Really, really cool. And this works really great. So I ended up making like a 4 by 1.5 inch stand, which is perfectly adequate to support this. And it fits nicely in my case. So I'll have some pictures of that.
Is that arm that holds the Batwing?
The arm I took off the original stand, and I cut a hole so that the existing peg fit into the stand, so I can put it back in the original if I want to.
Nice, nice.
Well which done. I never would, but it worked really, really well. Barry, what'd you build?
When I first started building models again, and you guys know I've talked about, I started building small model kits as practice for how to build and weather the big Millennium Falcon I was working on. One of the first things I built was a Bandai 1/48 scale snowspeeder. And I was always happy with the way it came out, and I've had it in my display case here for a couple of years. And then I built the small AT-AT model that Bandai makes, and about a year after that, they released another snowspeeder kit that had a regular size, same size snowspeeder as the one that I had already made, but it also had this really tiny snowspeeder model that was in scale with the AT-AT, and I wanted it. So I bought the kit just to get the small AT-AT, snowspeeder, built that so that I could display it with the AT-AT, but then eventually I said, I need to build the bigger one too. And I've learned a lot since I did the first one, so I thought I could do this one probably better and different. So I have, this is the main thing I'll show, I built a second snowspeeder. It's the same exact model as the first one. The main difference is they've made it it's a different ship. They give it different color stripes. This one's got the orange stripes on it, where the original one had the gray. A couple of other minor details. But this one I decided to go a little bit further on, and I bought some material that you use to imitate snow. So I did the whole base covered in snow. And
very nice.
You guys, I don't know if you can see that the way I'm holding it up to the camera. But I also used some of that snow lightly on the ship itself. So there's some snow like on the windshield and in some of the creases and crevices on top of the ship. I've got some good photos of it. I'll send you guys.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, do take pics of all three together, and then
I will. And then the other thing is really that I have gotten much better at painting small details and doing micro decals, and the pilots themselves came out like 100 times better on the second one than they did on the first one. I mean, again, hard to see through this camera, but the helmets are fully detailed, the uniforms are fully detailed, the chest packs are just done so much better than I could have done, and so much better than I did the first time. I know about clear coating things now, which I didn't know about on the first one, so it looks like a much more finished, more professionally done model.
That's great. So you're 2 weeks in a row with a snowspeeder for us.
Yeah. So it's a snowspeeder theme. I love snowspeeders. I mean, I have the Master Replica studio scale snowspeeder. I just pretty much the whole Hoth theme. I love AT-ATs. I love snowspeeders. So That's it. So I've got a plethora of snowspeeder models here. Dave,
Cool. Nice.
what's on your workbench?
Mine is very simple, and with the whole McClunky controversy, I wanted to make a new button, and this I made on the Glowforge, and this says, "No, really, hand shot first." I'm curious. I'm here. I wanted to sound that. I'm curious if I have the punctuation right. It's like, "No, really, hand shot first." So I have a comma, and then I have an ellipse after really. I wonder if it should be a period.
No, I think that works.
I think you got it right. Right.
So this
Because
is
the ellipse kind of conveys a pause, and I think that's what you want there. I think
That's exactly what
you're
I'm
just
looking for.
tired of this argument. No,
Yes.
really, hand shot first.
Especially with this. So, and this, you really can't see. This is this stuff I got from Inventables that is two-color. You can't see. So it's silver on the front. It looks like aluminum. And then when you etch it, it's black.
That's great.
It actually makes nice buttons. So, and I bought a bunch of these. So I'll make you guys some, obviously.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, please for next weekend.
Yeah. So it does. And I actually bought, I think I bought it with black, and when you etch it, it's gold underneath. I haven't used that yet.
That'd look good.
So look on Inventables; they have all this stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna order some stuff for ours because there's a few things we want to do like that, signs and things, and plaques.
Yeah, you could totally do them. And this is weird because this stuff took a little bit of, back and forth with the right thing. What I like now is you can go into pick a proof grade, and then you can just tweak it a little.
Yeah.
And this took a couple of tweaks. That's just for people who go for it. But if not anyone, first couple people who Instagram us Handshot First or McClunky, I'll send you one.
Oh God.
If that's what it is. So it's ridiculous. So I just
McClunky.
really want to. And I had made this, actually, I had made two of these. I made it in Arabesh too, which I thought was interesting. But this we really need to be. Listen, people, stop with this nonsense. Handshot first.
Enough is enough.
So that's what's on my workbench, and I'm going to make a bunch more of those.
Cool.
Okay, I have a very quick last thought, and then Todd, I know you have a last thought. My last thought is tomorrow is Barry's birthday. Happy birthday, Barry!
Oh, thank
happy
you
birthday,
very
Barry.
much.
As it'll be past by the time you listen to this, but feel free to send him gifts.
Yeah, or well thoughts. I'll take those, but gifts are, cooler.
Yes. And Todd, you had a last thought.
Yeah, I was just another movie opening last week and another flop. Charlie's Angels came out, and when are we going to be at that point where we accept that the 70s and 80s don't have to come back in every single possible iteration? I mean, this is, you think about it, if you look at this whole wave that we've lived through in the last, say, 3 years of taking something and trying to revive it, the only thing that I really think worked was Blade Runner. I think everything else has kind of been a flop or been a disappointment. And there just seems to be like one after another after another. And this comes right on the heels
But other than critically acclaimed, the Blade Runner 2049 was kind of a flop too.
Yeah.
It didn't
do as well, but I'm saying, but none of these are even that good, were even that good films, but it just seems like for a Terminator movie to just die like that,
The second one that did in the past 3 or 4 years.
Exactly.
3 years.
And I mean, Charlie's
I'm
Angels,
gonna take personal
both of
responsibility
the
for
previous
that
two
one.
Charlie's Angels films made $40 million their opening weekends. Both of those films. This one made 12.
But they were in a different era with while not my kind of movies, with people that were really hot at the time.
Very hot. This movie was, other than Kristen Stewart, I'm not the person who needs to determine. I have no idea who the two other women were.
She's not nearly as hot right
Cameron
now
Diaz
as Cameron Diaz was when that movie came out.
Is that what this rests on, or you think it's just
No,
nostalgia fatigue? I think we're hitting nostalgia fatigue.
It's also, why are we going to the same well all the time? And it's funny, Elizabeth Banks, who a very talented woman, And I think someone was like, hey, your movie kind of did crappy. What's the story? Well, there's been 27 Spider-Man movies. Like, all right, they made a mistake, obviously. Why you shouldn't have done the same thing.
Well, but you know what? I do think that I don't think that the audiences today have any freaking idea what Charlie's Angels is. So I don't even think it's a nostalgia going back to the well. It's got a name for people our age, but we're not the target audience for that movie.
But that's what I'm wondering, whether people link this more to the previous movie series than they do to the
100%.
to the thing. And
none of the girls that this was targeted at have ever seen an episode of Charlie's Angels. Guaranteed.
I think our era of, or whatever, the people who saw the series when the movies came out, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. And no one's like, you're dealing with a different type of people now. People aren't nostalgia for stuff that was 10 years ago. Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
No. Right. Yeah, just like I said, it just seems there's been an onslaught of this stuff, and none of it's done really well.
Terminator did poorly because I said it sucked last week, and everybody listened to our show and didn't go see it.
And it just killed the box office.
Terminator, that movie sucked. I told you guys after the show why I had such a problem with it.
Right.
And
it sounded bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Well, we have a Joker film that just rolled over $1 billion that, to me, I thought was a Hail Mary pass. And I got to say, I give DC a lot of credit for making this movie. I saw it. It's a very interesting film. It's very different. It's very different than any film I would have made. But someone figured out there was an audience for this thing, and I bet they were shooting for really optimistically hoping for a $500 million film, and
I still have zero interest in seeing it.
I will tell you, Dave, this film on some levels might appeal to you more than me or Barry. This is
because I'm a violent asshole.
No, this is a This is a very well-made film. It's, again, the thing I told Barry, the thing that astonishes me is that they got De Niro to be in a film that very much is an homage to two De Niro films. It's very, very odd. I also think one of the ways they sold this was there's a point at the movie where you realize what you're seeing isn't necessarily what's happening, right? He kind of has like I don't want to say psychic break, but part of the narrative we've seen has been in his head and not what's happening. So I think there's a built-in disavowing of the whole film. But I will say this is unique. It's not like any of the other films that anybody has done. And maybe there are still new ideas that you can do with
that
old
movie
things.
Appeals to Batman fans, to DC fans, to superhero movie fans, and I think in large part because of what it's about, to general audiences way more than something like Charlie's Angels would.
And I know, again, this is what I'm saying. They took something old here that we have seen multiple incarnations of, going back to Cesar Romero, and went very dark, but also went extremely deep on character and texture. This movie is going to get a lot of award nominations, and I'd be very surprised if this isn't the quote unquote first comic book movie to do extremely well in terms of awards.
And it's so hard to call it a comic book movie.
Well, I realize it's based on
it's certainly not a superhero movie, but it's based on comic characters. So yeah, it's a comic book movie.
It's set in Gotham City. It's set in Gotham City. We have the Waynes in the background, and it's about the Joker. So there's no question of where it's drawn from. But yes, it is. But it's not traditionally of that genre. So I will say I didn't super love this film, but it actually gave me hope for the idea that there's still some cool things out there that they can do, some directions we haven't seen or thought about yet. It's not just going to be more Charlie's Angels. there are some filmmakers out there like Todd Phillips who are going to try some daring new stuff and not just warm over the same old shit. So, good on him. Congratulations.
For the love of God, filmmakers everywhere, make whatever Batman-esque movies you need to make. Just, we don't need to see the Waynes die again.
Oh, good God.
Please stop with that. Please.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know how they die. We get it.
Yeah. But
okie dokie. With that, hey, we mentioned WinterCon. If
WinterCon.
anyone's going to WinterCon in lovely Jamaica, Queens this weekend, we'll be there on Sunday. So,
and I know it's if you're thinking last minute, check Groupon. They might still have some good deals on tickets. That's how I got mine.
I'm sure you can get in at the door.
You can.
Right?
Yeah.
Because Mark's not sure if he wants to go, and I don't want to buy 2 tickets if he's not going. So,
yeah. Look, we've talked about this show a couple years in a row. Like right after it, this is not by any means the con to go to if you're super excited about a comic convention. But if you
have some interesting guests,
yeah, it's got some good guests, and if it's realistically close enough to you to make it worth going, you might get some good deals on some stuff, some holiday shopping for your geek friends.
Please don't travel from
California. Brian Nix, if you're listening.
Brian, skip this one. If you are the biggest Farscape fan ever, this is where you need to be this weekend.
Yes, they've got eight guests from Farscape. And we've talked
2 alien people and some original Battlestar.
Yeah,
I mean,
we've talked in the past about.
I wouldn't have gone if it wasn't for a couple of those.
Yeah, why? How come we can't get Cassiopeia from Battlestar at a convention? Well, we're getting her, so how can you not go for that?
Actually, interestingly, both the adult and the child version of Boxy.
Yeah.
Oh, Kent McCord.
Kent McCord's going to be there, as well as Noah Hathaway.
Was he Boxy?
In Battlestar 80.
It wasn't
Galactic
the other
80.
guy. Yeah.
No, he was Dylan, and a throwaway line in the first episode was, "Did they really call you Boxy when you were a kid?" And he was like, "Yes, they did," and that was it. Never acknowledged again. So
interesting. Anyway, we'll be there, so check it out. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.